Good afternoon, YouTube. So this is the top of the enclosure I built for my Series 1 Pro 3D printer. So this is just a wooden 2x2 frame that sits on top of the printer and has a polycarbonate top cover. So originally I had my feed tube coming in here and had it inside just a groove in the top of the frame, and then I had some clamps on here to try to hold this, but being that this is Teflon tube, it was really hard to grab the tube and keep it from getting sucked inside of the printer enclosure. Then I thought one of these things would probably make a really nice stop because they're set up. I drilled the outside here for 4 millimeters, and then they've got a 2 millimeter hole for the filament in the back side. So I thought I could use one of those right here, and that would give me a tube stop, so to speak, and keep the tube from getting pulled through, and that way I'm not clamping this and distorting the tube, and it just pulls the filament right through the middle there, and I can take it apart without having any tools, which is nice. So that's my filament guide tube stop. And then I have this this is what's called a universal filament filter, and then you pass your filament through there, and that's your filament filter. So as the filament goes through, the sponge and the oil clean off any dirt, and that way you kind of keep your extruder clean by keeping the dirt off from the filament from getting on it. So I had one of these and I was thinking, how do I put that in? I found a Forstner bit, 5/8 inch, that's the exact size of this thing. So I just clamped this block of wood to the top of my frame, and I'll probably put it in that way. Drill a hole, because I had to kind of drill about 2/3 of a hole and 1/3 of a hole, and now my filament can go through. I got to get the hole in there opened up a little bit. Let's see there we go. So the filament can go through the filter, and then I'll have this guy on there pretty much like that, holding the filter in place, and then that way I can just feed the filament in. So I'll get the filament fed in there on the end, and then I can bring the guide tube up, plug it in, and I'm ready to print. So I'll have this this tube will extend from my dry box, filament dry box, up to the back of the printer, so the filament won't be exposed to air any place along the way. The little filter will keep it clean and add a little lubrication to it. So I think that's a good setup. I just have to do one more thing here. Okay, so one last thing I got to do. There's the filament filter, and if you can see, there's the original groove I had to let the filament in. So I've got that there. The filter is recessed most of the way into the wood, but I'm going to need to cut a little bit of a slot or a notch right here in my cover, just so it sits down there flush. Just take out one, looks like one rib of plastic on one side. Okay, there we go, YouTube. Got the feed through flange, I guess if you want to call it that, put on there. 3 screws to hold it. I notched out the cover there just to clear the filter, and that way I can take the cover off. You can see I've just got a slight little notch there, very easy to use. So this just fits on there with magnets. So there's my top. You can see magnet in each corner, and then I got that flange there, if you can catch that, right on the back. So I think that should work quite well. This length of tube is probably too long, so I can just start cutting it down, making it shorter and shorter until it's just barely long enough, is my plan. So yeah, I'll show you what that looks like when I get my stuff set up in the attic again. So I just wanted to show you my version 2 filament feed setup and modified printer enclosure. So the printer is still enclosed and the filament feed is all enclosed and all the filaments in a dry box. That should be about as good as you can get for filament storage, convenience, keeping it dry and clean. So I've got the filter to keep it clean, the desiccant inside of the dry box to keep it dry, and then the tube between the two should keep most of the moisture out of the filament. I mean, there'll still be a little bit, you know, the filament inside the printer. Can't really do much with that. But I think that'll definitely help, and it'll make it a lot more easy to use. So that's my plan here. Easy to use, no tools, and more functional too. So I've tried to do everything with this second version. So anyway, if you have any questions about that, post up in the comment section below the video description. And I'll put a link to my printer enclosure video up here in the upper right corner. And as always, thanks for watching.